Hello there. Yesterday I played another game in the Lichess LoneWolf tournament. It was around 2 and I want to share this game with you like I do with this kind of games. But before I do, I would like to say some general stuff regarding my chess improvement and some things I was thinking about. One thing when you are improving in chess, you should ideally you should be aware of what is your weakest link. So what is your weakest point in chess, so you can work on that point. So you always exceed one area of chess, and you tend to neglect some other area, and this is why you need to assess your weakest link. And I was thinking about my weakest link. In fact. I was discussing it with my club colleague, and it used to be patterns. So I was very weak in spotting patterns. So then I did some extensive pattern training drills, and I think I got patterns. I'm okay with patterns compared with my other areas of games, so the patterns are not the problem anymore. Also, tactics and calculation, I worked very much, and I still work every day on my tactics and calculation skills. So I don't think this is the weak link now. As for the openings, one can always know more opening theory, but I think on my level that my understanding of openings is good enough, at least good enough not to lose out of openings and not to get in the terrible position out of the opening. So this is also not something which is the weakest link. And then I analyzed my games, and you'll see in this game as well. And somehow I realized that my weakest link now is laziness. And by laziness, I mean intellectual laziness during the chess game. So I know what steps I need to perform before making a move, and after my opponent makes a move. I should always check for all possible checks, captures, and threats. And I should also perform a blunder check after each of my moves. And I should also perform a blunder check before I make a move. And by performing blunder check, I mean make the move in your head, so mentally make the move you intend, and then check for all checks, captures, and threats, so to avoid blunders. And also, when you see a threat, then don't just go for the first available defense, but again check for active moves, check for captures, and the point is look at all the forcing variations first, and then respond accordingly. And these are the things I didn't do in this game, and I made several positional mistakes, and then finally I made a big blunder, which is the result of laziness. So I would say that the thing I need to work most on these times is to fight laziness, and I don't know how to fight this. I'm not sure. If you have some suggestion, please leave it below in the comment. I think maybe I should try to avoid any fast controls, and maybe even play less, so in order to be more serious about games. Because if you play very frequently, then you tend to get unserious about the games, and maybe this is the reason. I played a lot. I played different time controls, and maybe I just caught some bad habits. Okay, so let's go to the game. So I'll demonstrate these things in the game. So, first of all, my opponent, he's somewhat lower rated than me, and I look at his profile. He was lower rated in other areas as well, so in Blitz, in rapid games, and in classical. And I briefly talked to him before the game, and I found out that he is 25 years old. He's also adult improver. In fact, he learned rules of chess when he was 23, so only 2 years ago. And he's working on his chess, and he also said that he's watching my YouTube channel, and that he find it very instructive, which I'm always glad to hear. So, fellow adult improver, and we are playing this game. So he opened the game with e4 on move 1. I responded my usual e5. He went for knight f3, and I played Petrov here again. So knight f6. Knight takes c5, so this is the Petrov main line. d6, kicking away his knight. He retreats his knight, and I capture the pawn. So this is just well, most of the Petrov defenses start in this manner, nothing much to say here. And now he played bishop d3, which is unusual move. And well, it's a little bit strange because it blocks this d pawn, and by blocking d pawn you also block your perspective of developing your dark square bishop on a classical diagonal. So I would say this is definitely out of the book move, and so we are both out of the book at this point. I played d5 here, so this is usual Petrov idea. So when you want to maintain this knight in the center, as long as it makes sense, and you also want to put your pawn in the center. So d5 is a principal move. He castled, and I played bishop e7, so I want to develop my bishop, and also I want to stop any ideas of pinning my knight to my king. So this bishop here intersects on this file, and the king is much safer. He played rook e1 here, and now I made a slight mistake because, like I said, I was out of the book, and I went for this principle to maintain this knight in the center as long as it is possible, so I played bishop f5. And engine says this is a mistake. He evaluates this position plus 1.6 for white. So, okay, this is a mistake. I guess if white knows his theory, he can somehow take advantage of this mistake. Okay, so the book move is to retreat the knight. And the engine move is to castle and to sacrifice the pawn for some kind of initiative. But I don't think this is, from human perspective, I don't think this works. So I think in this position I should just retreat my knight and well, continue with my normal development. So I should remember this in future. But anyway, I played bishop f5, and no big deal here. He played knight d4 here, so also a mistake according to the engine, and now the position is equal. So his idea was to harass my bishop, to centralize the knight. I can understand this move. But from some general perspectives and general principles, I don't think this move is justified, because now he's moving his knight twice. So he already developed this knight, and now he moves it again for some attack which doesn't have a follow-up after I retreat my bishop, and at the same time he has many undeveloped pieces. So I think in this position it will be better just to develop the knight, or maybe to play something like b3, just to look how to develop this bishop, or do something about these pieces, not to play with the same piece twice. Okay, so he played this move. I just retreated my bishop, which was under attack, and now he develops his knight, and I take this knight. I took this knight because, well, this is usually what you do in Petrov. When the knight comes to c3, you just take it, because this knight doesn't have a bright future in the game. So, well, maybe this position is specific, so maybe this was not the best move, but I thought I cannot go wrong by just taking this knight. D takes c3. Okay, I castled. He now develops his bishop on bishop f4, and well, you can see immediately that he's eyeing my c7 square, and his intention is, I thought, and I think I was right, was to go with knight to b5 and to double attack this c7 pawn, which is not easy to defend. At least I thought so. So I played a6 prophylactic move to stop this knight b5, and this was a bad move for several reasons. So first of all, this threat was not a real threat. So even if I played some other move, let's say, and he did play a knight b5, I can just play my knight to a6. I'm covering this square, and I can also in the future kick this knight away, and well, at least I'm developed here. So this is one reason. And another reason why another better move was instead of a6 to play c6, because you will see later in the game I did play c6 later. So the c6 move would also stop knight b5, but it would protect this pawn. So the problem with this d pawn, which I will talk about it later as well, is that it's only defended by the queen, and there are some discovered attacks on this pawn. So if he moves his knight, he had he has discovered attack on this pawn. And if I would develop my knight, for example, on d7, which is natural square, going probably for f6, then I cut off the defense of my pawn, and it's a loose pawn. So this c6 move ensures that this pawn is always safe from any discarded attacks, and that this queen is not bound to protect the pawn, and I can also play this knight d7 move. So c6, if I was so afraid of b5, which I shouldn't have been because this is not a real threat, but anyway, I should play just c6, and I'm stopping b5. Okay, so I play this a6, and this is a time-wasting move. Knight f3, he retreats because he understands that this knight cannot go anywhere, and now his plan is to play knight to e5, so attacking my bishop and well, just being annoying here in my half of the board. And well, now I played c6 because I realized that okay, if he plays here, I want to play knight d7 maybe, and then if I play knight d7, then he has this possibility. So let me show you just for example what I was afraid of. My main problem in the position is this knight, and it's undeveloped. I need to develop it. If I develop it on c6, I don't like this because then my c pawn is blocked, and this pawn is almost isolated because this pawn cannot come to defense, and so I just wanted to keep this c6 free. And if I would develop my knight on d7 here, so to stop this intrusion and also to develop my knight, he could just take the bishop, I have to take back, and then he can take my my pawn here, which is loose. In this position I was thinking how to solve this, how to develop my knight, and this is why I played c6, so I can now play knight d7, and there is no discard attack because now this is protected. He played the knight e5 according to his plan, and he wanted to harass my bishop, and I was happy to exchange because if you see, all my pawns are on the light squares. So my light square bishop is not the best piece in the position, and also these two pawns are on light squares, and if I play g6, all of my pawns will be on dark squares, which makes my dark square bishop very strong and my light square bishop very weak. So I was happy to exchange my light square bishops here. Okay, now I finally developed my knight d7, and he played queen g3. And now I kind of panicked because I mean I didn't really panic, but I was, let's say, less rational here in this position. So I was afraid of this, of course. So he can play, so for example, if I play some nothing move, let's say this, then he can play this, bishop to h6, and well, he's threatening checkmate here. If I move this, he takes my rook. So this is a usual pattern, which happens very often. So I saw this immediately, so my pattern recognition is okay at this level because I see these things immediately, but I didn't know how to respond to this threat. So I remembered one very familiar setup, and this is you can put your rook to e8 and then attack your bishop back to f8. This is Ben Feingold's rule: always play bishop f8, and then okay, then I'm defended. So for example, I could play rook e8. If he now tries this trick, I can just retreat my bishop here, and then my bishop is doing excellent defensive job, and I have also my rook. So this move bishop to f8 frees my rook. So this was the idea, and this is why I played rook e8 here. But this was not a very good move because, like I said, this knight is annoying, so it's on the center of the board and on the my part of the board. So I didn't see this because I was panicked about this move, but I should just have taken this knight. And now if he plays this is what I didn't see. So now if he plays knight h6, I have this defense. And this is also very familiar, let's say, pattern. So to put your knight on g6 and to defend against this kind of threats. But I didn't see this. So in this position, And this is the part when I can start talk about laziness. So I should calculate all the forced variations. So what is the forced variation here? And I didn't calculate the forced variations. I just said, oh, okay, he wants to play bishop h6. I will do just my familiar maneuver with, playing bishop to f8. I saw this many times, this constellation and this kind of defense, and I'll just play this. Because I know this pattern, I know this kind of positions, and this is it. And this is a wrong way of thinking, because I should always think about forcing variations first. So the forcing variation is knight takes knight. And now what can he do? If he now tries this trick, then I can do this like I said. If he takes the knight, well, I don't have any threats anymore. I mean, I can play whatever to stop this attack on the g7 square. Or he can even take with his rook. And in this case, again, I have several defensive resources. For example, just bishop to f6, attacking the rook, and also covering this g7 pawn. So many opportunities. So this is the first lesson. Always calculate forcing variations first. I didn't, so I played rook e8. He played knight g4 here. Now he threatens this check, and this looks scary to me. So I didn't want, because if he checks here, then I cannot just retake, because my pawn will be pinned. And then after he checks, I have to move, for example, here, then he threatens to take my f7 pawn, and so on. It's not very pleasant. So I wanted to escape this, and also there are several ways to do this. I just moved my king away, king h8. And this is not such a bad move. I think even Engine thinks this is the best move here. He played h4 now, so he obviously wants to continue his attack. So he has 3 pieces attacking, and now he adds a 4 piece to the attack. He also can add a rook. So I think he has a very strong attack. Also, although the engine says it's plus 0.2, so almost equal position. I played knight f6 here. I wanted to cover, I guess, this advance of h5 pawn and also attack his knight, and he plays knight e5, which again looked very scary to me, although the engine thinks it's inaccuracy, but it looked scary because I didn't see this move. So again, I was too lazy to see, okay, if I move this knight, what was this knight doing, and what is the best move he can play here. And I should have noticed that when I played knight f6, then this square is now available for his knight, which happens not to be the best move here, but anyway, I should have seen this. So a knight e5 here, and now I got scared again. So he's threatening to take my my pawn, and I have to defend my pawn. So instead of just bringing my king back, I played this rook f8 move. So rook first went to a8, then it went back to f8. So not a very good move. So the question is, why didn't I play this? Because again, I was afraid of this bishop to h6, but I forgot that well, my plan was just to free this f8 square for my bishop, and in this position I will be okay. So I don't know why, but I just forgot my previous plans. So why did I play rook e8 in the first place? To be able to bring my bishop back to defense. And after he plays this knight e5, I see that my pawn is under attack, and not just under attack, but it also can fork my king and my queen, so it's scary. And I forgot that I can now play king back to g8, because this is not a real threat, because I have a bishop f8. So I just forgot it. I played rook to f8 to cover this pawn. He played queen f3 now, because you can notice that this pawn is pretty weak, because I have both of my pieces attacking it. So we can go even back. So even here I attack this twice, but here he has one combination which I saw. So if I would have taken, he can take with check. I have to take back, and then I lose my bishop. So this is why taking the pawn in this position doesn't work. But now okay. But now here I have this discovered attack. So my plan was, my threat was to play knight h5, so forking the queen and the bishop. And I want to get rid of this bishop because it's very dangerous, and it's dangerous in the attack, and also it has this battery here. So I wanted to play knight to h5, attacking both of the pieces, and then later I can just pick up this pawn. And he saw it, and he played queen to f3. Okay, I now played knight to d7, so you can see that I'm going to and fro with my pieces. It's not the very best strategy, but I wanted to get rid of his attackers, so I play this. He finally takes on d7, I take back, and now he plays queen to h5. So what is the threat here exactly? Well, actually, he doesn't have any big threats. He played this in order to protect this pawn. So this pawn was loose. Now it is defended, and well, I have a dark square bishop. He has dark square bishop, so I can defend here. He has queen. I have queen very near to defense. So this position is equal, and the computer also says it's completely equal. So in this position, I should just look how to improve my pieces. So maybe bishop here, or a rook here, or okay, not here because this is attacked. So maybe rook here, and also something like this. Look how to improve my pieces. This is a distant threat, because if I move my rook, then he can take this pawn. But I don't have to move this rook immediately. I could just play something like this. And it was in this position that I made this terrible blunder. So I saw that his queen is here in the vicinity of my king, that I have this distant threat, and I decided to kick the queen away with g6. And all I had to do here was to perform a blunder check in order to avoid the catastrophe which will follow. So I should have perform blunder check, which consists of asking yourself, if I play this move, what are all checks, captures, and threats my opponent has after I play this move? Yeah. So I should have played this g6 in my head, and then think about all possible checks. So this is the first step. And if I only have done this, I would see that he has. Okay, so what checks does he have? He has queen takes h7 check, which obviously doesn't work. But he also has once I move this pawn, he has this check. So queen a5 check, and this is not only check, but it also attacks my bishop, which will be attacked twice now, and I will lose my bishop. And I didn't see this, so I did briefly look something like, okay, if I play g6, where can his queen go? And I said, okay, here, no. Okay, the queen can go here, but I don't care, because I will just bring my rook in the game, and I have this card attack. So I didn't see that this is actually check when the queen goes here. Okay. And I also looked at some other possibilities. So here, queen cannot go here. Here it can go here. Okay, and I said, okay, I'm fine with this. So I saw where the queen can go and where the queen cannot go, and I thought everything is all right. But this is not a blunder check. This is a thinking process before you decide on the move. But once you decide on the move, definitely then you can perform this final blunder check, and this is ask for all checks, captures, and threats here in the position. And if I have done this, I wouldn't have made this terrible move. So I played here g6, and he immediately played queen e5 check. And now the game is lost. So I did play some more moves. I just to try. I didn't resign immediately. I could have resigned immediately, but okay, I played several more moves. Anyway, after this, I have to move my king, so I now lose my bishop. And he didn't even take my bishop immediately. He played this Zwischenzug idea, so to completely trap my king. So now he's threatening checkmate. I have to play f6, and now he takes the bishop. And well, I have now to exchange queens, because this will be checkmate. And This is in fact a very good move, bishop h6, because it doesn't just trap my king, but it also forces the queen exchange after. Because if you would have taken this immediately, then I wouldn't exchange queens. I would try to run away with my queen somewhere, and then the game would last longer. And when you have a queen, you can always hope for some kind of perpetual check in the end game and to draw. So this was a very good move by my opponent, just playing bishop h6 and forcing the exchange of queens. So I think this is an excellent move. So I played f6, queen takes c7, queen takes c7, rook takes c7, and now you can see that I'm completely lost because he can take all my pawns. My king cannot move anywhere, so I just played some more moves again. And now I have to defend this pawn. My king is completely paralyzed, so I cannot do anything. I just played several more moves. We exchanged rooks, and now he came with his king in the game in the middle, and now his plan is just to take all my pawns with the king, and I cannot stop him because if I try to stop him, he has this bishop and he can control this diagonal. I have to move away, and then his king has a very nice way to take all my pawns. So at this point, I resigned. Okay, so this was it for the game. Well, in some kind of summary, I did make some time-wasting moves. I didn't consider all the possible responses to my opponent's threats, and overall I was lazy, so I didn't calculate even before this blunder. I didn't calculate all the forcing variations to the end, and this is a must. If you want to improve in chess, you just need to calculate all the forcing variations in any positions to the end of the forcing line, and then some says one move further. I didn't do this because I was lazy, and also I didn't perform blunder checks as I should have performed them. I didn't check all the checks, captures, and threats after my move is mentally on the board, and this cost me a huge blunder and a game. So hopefully I can learn something from this game. I'm still not sure how to fight laziness. So this is another challenge for me. I know how to fight lack of pattern recognition or lack of calculation skills or lack of positional plays. You just need to go through master games. Lack of opening understanding, you just need to read a good opening book. But how to fight laziness, I'm really not sure, and well, I will try to figure something out. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please click the like button and share the video. Subscribe to my channel if you didn't, leave the comment below, and whatever you want. Cheers.